So I've been wanting to make a video like this for some time, but I kept putting it on and off, but whatever. But I really wanted to, tell my testimony and saying why I chose Orthodoxy. So the reason why I chose Orthodoxy was because in this very room was I when I first met God, or when I heard God for the first time, actually. It was in this very room where I heard him. And it happened in around March or May of 2023. I heard his voice, and the day after, I decided to follow him right then and there. I was like in this exact place. This is where I heard his voice, and I was froze still. It was so powerful, full of authority, yet full of calmness and serenity. So the reason why I chose Orthodoxy was, starting from the beginning, I was Protestant, Baptist. I didn't know what Orthodoxy was back then. So I was Protestant. I studied the Bible. I read the Word, did Bible study, went to my nearest parish, made some friends, made some new faces, learned what it is to be Christian. And, I abstained from swearing, vulgarity, rap music. What else was it? Adult films, cursing, rated R films, rated R TV, rated R, all that stuff. So I was very happy because I found a new calling, and I was very happy with it. Though in the beginning I was kind of confused with being a Christian, yet being prudent. Weirdly enough, I will say, as a Christian, I was like watching a bunch of TikToks full of like Muslim videos, but I didn't know what that meant. Like, I wanted to be prudent. I'm a lady. I wanted to be nice, welcoming. I wanted to be dignified. I wanted to be modest. So taking up Islam while in the Christian faith, I wanted the modesty of Islam, yet I wanted to know who Christ was. I believe in Christ. So that kind of was iffy. Like, I know something was pulling me towards something. Not exactly Islam, but the beauty of Islam, at least from an outsider's point of view. Like the mosques, how beautiful they are, how modest the women dress, this and that. The, what is it? Not the hadiths, but the chanting of the verses from the Quran. I don't know what they're called. I forgot. But anyways, I was Christian, yet I wanted something more. Something was pulling me towards the more. I didn't know what, though. I didn't know what then. But anyways, so I was still a Christian, going in, following in my faith, this and that. And then I was scrolling through YouTube, and I saw Orthodoxy, and I said, what's Orthodoxy? Like Orthodoxy Judaism? But then when I clicked on it, it was Orthodox Christianity. And what really pulled me toward it was, first off, the chanting. The Byzantine chanting. It was so beautiful. I loved it so much. It filled me with such joy, and it was like, wow, what is this? What is this? What am I hearing? This is amazing. So I looked more into it. Then I saw the churches, the most beautiful, beautiful churches. Like the Russian Orthodox churches, the Greek Orthodox churches, as well as the Oriental Orthodox churches. It was so beautiful. I loved the chanting. It was magnificent. So I looked more into it because I was so curious. Mind you, I was so Protestant, and this is my first journey of inquiring what Orthodoxy was. So I heard about the chanting. I heard about the churches and the history. 2,000 years of unbroken history. Orthodox Christianity descended from Jesus Christ and the apostles themselves. I was like, what? What is this? This is incredible. What is this? I must hear more about this. So when I decided to learn more about Orthodoxy, my Protestant church wasn't really satisfying me because I craved more of the Orthodoxy. So, sadly, at the moment I was sad because all my friends were there. It was the nearest parish towards my house. I left there to go to my nearest Orthodox parish, which is a Greek Orthodox. And when I first got in, I will tell you, I was so intimidated by the icons, the iconography. It was just glowing. It was so beautiful. Beautiful golden laced icons of the Theotokos and Christ the Child and the apostles and St. John Chrysostom, St. Basil the Great, St. Gregory. And it was just wow. When I first saw my priest there, well, the priest then, I was so intimidated. I couldn't even look at him. I was like, what? This absolute gloriousness. I can't even look at this. All this beauty, I can't even look at it. This is so much. But I was right then and there. I knew it was from Christ because, like, as an outsider, as a Protestant, I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta keep my head down. I can't even look at this. But I kept inquiring about it, and I was so captured by it. I was so drawn to it. So I attended the Orthodoxy 101, like, immediately. And I started attending the Orthodox Church there. And I loved the people there. My priest, I love my priest. I still do. Even to this day, after a year of attending, since my catechism, I'm now chrismated and officially Orthodox. But back then, when I was still in catechism, I was still intimidated by my priest. But I will tell you, he has the most amazing smile. It's like looking in the eyes of Christ himself. He's so sweet. But anyway, so I attended my Orthodox parish. I met new brothers and sisters. And it's like it's a strong bond, and I love that very much. So I kept attending. I grew more attached to it. And the icons is also what drew me to it, to Orthodoxy. This, what I have now, as being, I was chrismated December of last year. So this is what I now dedicate my time when I perform the prayer of the hours. This is like nostalgic to my parish, because when you step in an Orthodox parish, immediately you're met with the icons, right? You're met with the Panagia Theotoke, Christ the Child. You're met with the icons of the apostles, of the angels as well. This is something small, but whenever I pray here, I'm brought back at the liturgy, at the Orthros, because being at the liturgy, it's like I can't be without it. I must have it. It's something that brings me forth joy, and it makes me so happy. However, this is not the end of the story. We're continuing on. So, along as I was still Orthodox, I'm now chrismated Orthodox, and along the way, this was like some time ago, I won't mention his name, but a brother of mine who was Catholic, and I knew he was Catholic from the start, but he had me inquire of Catholicism, because he was very strongly for Catholicism, and I thought to myself, if he thinks of this so much, then why not give it a try? Let me dip my toes in the sand of this one. So, to learn more about why he thinks such, let me look about the Catholic Church, why don't I? So, I did inquire of it. I did ask questions. I even went to my childhood Catholic church and asked questions about that. I learned more about it. So I learned more from reading the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Read more about, like, the sacraments, like what is mortal venial sin, this and that, what is purgatory, what are indulgences. And I thought, wow, this is so well detailed. This is incredible. So in-depth of the faith, right? Thomas Aquinas, of course. And, to make things simple for me, the Baltimore Catechism. But, however, while I was inquiring at Catholicism and went to Latin Mass and this and that, I was so sad inside. This is not to make my brother feel worse, but this is just my experience. I will tell you my testimony. But all the while I was learning about Catholicism and being away from my Orthodox parish and my brothers and sisters, my priest in the liturgy, like within, I felt just so drained. I felt so low. I felt so depressed because I was without this. I was without the icons. I was without the Orthros. I was without the chanting. I was without the liturgy. And so with that being detached, I honestly felt spiritual and physical anguish, because I was like, the liturgy is like my lifeline to Christ. And so I felt distraught. I couldn't, like, a brother of mine from my Orthodox parish, like, convinced me to go back. Because, I was just so lost, I wanted answers, right? I wanted answers because I was interested. But at the same time, I was confused and caught up in, what if this, what if that, what is this? I want deeper knowledge of this. But however, knowledge is not everything. This is the mystery of God. This is our faith, the Orthodox faith, is that you do not need to know everything, all right? This is God's divine mystery. Whether he wants us to know, that's his will, that's his choice, But a brother of mine, God bless him, he brought me back to the Orthodox parish, and when I went back, it was like a breath of fresh air. Like my lungs were being squeezed by rope. And being back in the liturgy, seeing the Panagia Theotoke, hearing the Orthros, hearing the chanting, the choir, the music, everything. It's just everything was right again. Like, this is my life. The Orthodoxy is my life, and I cannot abandon it again. I can't abandon it. Because I was very close to leaving it. I was so close. Like, this close. I was so close. Thank God that I was stopped, honestly, because I don't know what I would probably be in serious danger with my soul here. But this is now my testimony of why I chose Orthodoxy, because this is everything to me. Being it from Christ, being in the body of Christ, being in his church. And, I just thank God for this experience, though it was hard and difficult and sad and a bunch of ups and downs. I'm still thankful that God has brought me forth brothers and sisters who care for me, though I may not see it myself, and that I have a parish who loves me, and that I have a security blanket to where whenever I feel sad, I could just pray to God. I could read the lives of the saints. I could listen to the sermons or the sayings of Saint Paisios or Saint Nektarios of Aegina. Or I can even read about my own saint, Saint Kyriaki. Or I could, I could go back to the history of the Orthodox Church, or read about Father Seraphim Rose. What does he have to say? Or I could read back to the lives of the martyrs. What have they died for so bravely and so honorably? So, this is my testimony as to why I chose Orthodoxy, or rather, why Orthodoxy chose me.